Network. Sorry, folks. Let's talk about this race out of North Carolina, where a candidate dropped a video that has gotten lots of attention. You rarely see a white candidate running for office speak this explicitly about race in announcing his campaign. Watch this.
When I was a young boy, the KKK announced a night rally in my home county. A cross burning with hundreds of Klansmen to terrorize the blacks and Lumbee. We were a poor farming community, black, white, and Indian. My parents and grandparents were sharecroppers like many. The police chief warned the Grand Dragon, "These people don't want your trouble." The Klansmen called us mongrels, half-breeds, and told him the Klan would show him how to handle people like us. That night they rode in with their cars, their crosses, and a single light bulb hooked to a car battery. 50 Klansmen. Not a bad turnout on a cold night. Problem is, they were surrounded by 400 Lumbees. Simeon Oxendine had been a tail gunner in a B-29 during the war. Verdia Locklear was 4 months pregnant. Neil Lowry was the local barber. Hundreds of normal folks deciding to stand together against ignorance and hate. Lowry shot out the light. The Klansmen scattered. By the time the sheriff arrived to fish them out of the swamp, the press was running with the story. The Battle of Hayes Pond, where one town beat the Klan. A piece of forgotten history, worth remembering, especially today. In Washington, lies turn to violence. And the biggest lie is that America is at war with itself. That you can't trust your neighbor, that they want something that's yours, that you must live in fear of them. But the people who stood up at Hayes Pond refused to be afraid. I grew up with their story, and the lesson is human dignity is a human right. When I started teaching special needs children in the 80s, they had almost no rights in our schools. So I spent 30 years fighting the system to recognize their humanity. And as a legislator, I don't play politics. I study, I listen, and I vote my conscience. I'm Charles Graham, and I'm running for Congress because sometimes we're called upon to put things right, like Hayes Pond in 1958 and America today, where access to affordable health care is still out of reach to many families, where the Sandhills face the highest unemployment rates in the country, and our veterans return from war, seeking opportunities and finding none. These folks didn't set out to make history, they just answered a neighbor's call. It happened here before, and now it's our turn.
Well, joining us right now is Charles Graham. Welcome to Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Thank you, Roland. It's a pleasure to be on your program this evening. I don't know, Roland, how many times you've had a chance to have a sharecropper's son on your program and a grandson of sharecroppers. It's amazing to be here, and I'm honored to be a part of your program tonight. I'm a proud Lumbee, Roland, and I'm on.
All right, then. All right. Well,
I'm the only.
Go ahead. So you're the only. Go ahead. The only
in the North Carolina General Assembly, and I'm the only.
Well.
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm proud to say that I serve on the American Legislative Black Caucus in my seat, and I want to tell you about our rollout. Roland, I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of our message, and I believe.
Well, it's gotten a lot of attention. It's got a lot of attention. Folks have been talking about it, and you were just very direct about this. And did you have any people who say, "I don't know, Charles, maybe that's not how we open up"? How did you say, "No, this is how we're going to launch this campaign"?
Well, listen, my campaign is about unity, and this is what the Hayes Pond citizens demonstrated in 1958. We experienced people in this video coming together to fight hatred, to fight bigotry. And Roland, we moved forward to 2021 from 1958, and what do we see? We see the same type of bigotry, hatred, trying to undermine our democracy. The one difference between 1958, Roland, and 2021 is they weren't wearing sheets. This story talks about unity and division, how people can work together. And that's my message to the citizens of Congressional District 9. If we stay that way, of course, Roland, you know we have to go through redistricting. But, you know, that's what we're all about. We need to unify. We need to work for the common values and have a representative in Congress who will do that. And that's what I'm about. And I would ask your viewers today, and I know you have folks who are very interested in what I'm talking about, and that is not dividing our country, unifying. And I would ask your listeners to support my campaign. VoteCharlesGraham.com. Go to my campaign website, support Charles Graham. And I think everyone understands, Roland, that I'm running against the far-right extremists who are determined to undermine our democracy and continue to divide us. That's not what Charles Graham's about. And I want that story to be told.
You talk about those far-right extremists. You've been having to fight them in North Carolina. I've spent an inordinate amount of time on my show in the last decade talking about the viciousness by which the Republicans in North Carolina have been trying to lead. In many ways, what you're now seeing in Georgia and Texas and other places really started in North Carolina after Obama won that state by 14,100 votes in 2008.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely, Roland, you are right. That's when we saw the General Assembly in North Carolina, after we had, obviously, during that time, redistricting, and they rolled out maps that were going to be in their favor in terms of maintaining control and running their agenda. And we still see that. I have served in the General Assembly. This is my 6th term. I have served in the minority for 11 years, and I have prepared myself, Roland, to move forward, and that's to go to Congress and support our president. Our president needs allies. We have a very small window of opportunity to maintain the control we have in Congress. So, you know, yes, I have seen that, and it began when our President Obama was elected, and you know, it's been moving that direction ever since.
Questions for my panelists. First up, Kelly, your question for Charles Graham.
Sure. So as a result of this campaign video going viral, you've come under scrutiny regarding your stance on LGBT plus issues. I would like to know, considering how you voted back in 2016 on HB2, I believe, how has your viewpoint changed? And what do you plan on doing once you get into Congress regarding those issues?
Thank you for that question. You know, after HB2, and I think it may have been 4 or 5 years ago, after that vote, I realized that that vote caused a lot of pain and hurt in the transgender community. I worked very hard after that to repeal HB2, was successful, and I want folks to understand that Charles Graham understands and has seen and experienced discrimination. When I was a young man playing baseball, playing sports, participating, I had the fellows who was participating on my team, they protected me from racism. I know what racism is. I know what discrimination is. And once I took that vote after and at this moment, you know, I'm sorry. I apologized. And you don't hear too many people or too many politicians actually apologizing. And I'm sorry. And I'm running for Congress again to unite us, not divide us. And my tenure, hopefully, in Congress will be one that the LGBTQ community will be proud of, not discriminatory, and respecting their rights to coexist in our society.
Tammy.
Thank you, Roland. Mr. Graham, given the fact that your apology only came this past Tuesday after other people pointed it out, how do you reconcile your recent apology with the other Democratic candidate that is running for Congress in your district, Ram Mohavid, I believe is his name, and the fact that he may not have the political backing like you? Myself, I did run for Congress here in Texas District 6, so I understand the importance for raising money to put out a commercial that is as polished as yours. And it takes a lot of money. And given the fact that you have been in the state legislation for quite some time, you have that financial backing, whereas your Democratic opponent may not have had it. So how do you reconcile that, given the fact that your opponent is more grassroots than you, and the fact that you have to be called out before you apologize for that vote?
Well, you know, one of the things I'm proud to talk about is my experience. I'm an experienced legislator. I have worked on behalf of minorities in the legislature. I've also worked on bills that will support our communities, our poor communities, communities of minority. I come from a minority district. My district is 75% minority. I work within my Lumbee community, which I'm very proud to do. I work within the Black community, which I'm very proud to do. And the fact that I have the experience and I have the support of many individuals from the minority community. This rollout has been tremendous. And I am very excited to be able to allow people in this district and this state and this country to know who Charles Graham is. I am a man of color. I'm not one who will stand up on the floor and do what the sitting member did in Congress, and that is defy the President of the United States and not recognize him in a very important time when we're trying to get legislation passed, infrastructure legislation passed to support our families, our children. And it is certainly a time that we need to move forward, and that's my plans. I've explained my position. I'm certainly going to work in Congress on behalf of all citizens, including the LGBTQ community, including transgender rights. That is Charles Graham. My opponent would want you to think that he, along with his right-wing supporters, are in a position to do better things for people of color. That's not true. That's not true. And minorities, that is not true. And my intention is to work on behalf of all citizens. Yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Michael.
All right, State Senator Charles Graham. Hey, thanks for coming on today. Question for you: If you become a member of Congress, you're probably going to have to vote on bills like H.R. 40, which deals with a study for reparations to repair the damage of slavery and make recommendations, possibly Voting Rights Acts, possibly George Floyd Justice and Policing Act or policing acts as well. What are your stances on issues and bills like that directly impact the African-American community? And then also, when you said 75% minority population in that district, like what is the ethnic or racial makeup of that minority? Because minority is a very confusing term.
Yes. Well, you asked two questions there, and I'll try to answer both of those questions. My district, Robeson County, southeastern North Carolina, is about 40% American Indian, okay, about 23% African American, and 25% Caucasian. We do have a growing number of Hispanics in our community, hardworking folks. Everyone in our county are, and here again, Robeson County in southeastern North Carolina is one of the poorest counties in the state and in the country. Yes. And I've been fortunate for the past 6 election cycles to have the support of my communities. I was very supported this last election cycle. I was the only Democrat, statewide, national, presidential, governor. I was the only Democrat to win my district. And I think I have the confidence of the folks in my district who are, and as I said, approximately 75% minority. And your other question about supporting Black Lives Matter, any legislation coming forward to me in Congress, if I get that opportunity, I can guarantee you, and just don't mind telling you, don't know what the language would be, have not seen the bills, but Charles Graham will support any legislation coming to him that's going to uplift the lives of minority people.
All right, Charles Graham, we surely appreciate it. Thanks for joining us here in Roland Martin Unfiltered. I'm sure I will be spending some time in your state, especially when it comes to that U.S. Senate position, trying to get a strong progressive voice in there. So I'm sure our paths are going to cross.
Well, listen, I appreciate you having me on your program. I look forward to having you come to North Carolina, and maybe we can work on some things together. And I thank the panelists for their questions, and look forward to moving forward in the future. And VoteCharlesGraham.com.
All right. Thanks a bunch. Take care.
Thank you.
Folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on? Sure. It's wireless. Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password? Buick Envision 2021. Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable. That's a really tight spot. Don't worry. I used to hate parallel parking. Me too. Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you. All of
Time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punching!
Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am rolling with Roland all the way. Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Roland was amazing on there.
Stay black. I love y'all.
I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared. You dig?